everyone.
Hello.
How we doing, boys?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad.
The absolute legend himself, Scott McTominay, has scored the second the stream started.
Have you got him in your team?
Oh, no, it's not Scott McTominay. It's the slightly larger looking Scott McTominay, Wout Weghorst. They were hugging. They look very similar. I think it's Wout Weghorst that scored.
He scored a goal. Wow.
Yeah, it was a 2-yard tap-in. But anyway, everything's better.
He must be about ready for his transfer to Everton, right?
Hey, Everton got a point on the weekend. It's better than what United could do.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, should we get into it? Hello,
Yes.
everyone. Welcome to Thursday Club, episode 5.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, boys, at the Thursday Club. So today, alongside me, as usual, Ricky T, aka Sorare Mamba.
Cheers.
Mr. Manu, and third member now of the tripod, Johnny, aka Dornado.
Cheers.
A toffee monster.
Toffee monster.
Anyway, let's get into it. Weekly ramble. Who wants to kick this one off, Johnny?
Yeah. So there's been a few announcements. Pardon me. A few announcements by Sorare this week. One of them, which was the new reward tiers. So it's after obviously all the controversy the last, seems to have come to a head the last sort of month or so of people not being very happy with their rewards. It's been going on since records began, but people have felt the need to put it all over Twitter. So I think they've felt the need to reply to that. So they've not increased the amount of rewards, but they have split the rewards out from the original 4 tiers to I think now 6 tiers. So there's now Star, Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4, and Tier 5. I think it's going to be good for the platform. I think it sort of makes the transition between the tiers a bit smoother, I think, rather than you being like, quite often can be happier being top of the tier below rather than bottom of the tier above. I think it'll be a bit more of a disparity between the two. So I think it's a good announcement. They've had a bit of a cop out in the way they said it. They said, "Oh, now that the Premier League is on board, we've decided that this really makes us understand this." I think they could have done it probably a year ago when the Premier League wasn't on board, but they've done it, so that's good.
I think they've copied basketball, probably, haven't they? The model.
Yeah,
it seems to be working there. I don't really play basketball, don't you?
Yeah, it's really enjoyable winning 40p tier 5s. Yeah, but at least I guess now when you get a tier 5 that you're going to get crap, rather than if you get a tier 3 now, you might have a little bit higher hopes. I think the pools are narrow, aren't they? Which is
pools are narrow.
You have more of a concentrated idea of what you might get.
That's exactly it.
I don't like it personally. I've always liked the randomness of pulling cards.
Well, it's still random, isn't it? It's still going to be random, just slightly random, which I guess keeps the masses happy. I think also the fact they've increased the amount of tiers makes people think like, oh, there's more prizes. There's not more prizes. It's the same amount of prizes, but it's clever bit of marketing. I think it probably still needs a bit of work, but you can never keep everyone happy, can you? At the end of the day, I
just think they need to get the pools themselves correct. The right people in there, the right cards removed, and then I think that is the main thing that would take away all of the the pressure that they seem to get on social media is when people pick up cards they can't use.
Yeah,
I mean, and the whole swapping thing led to a lot of entitlement, doesn't it? Where people are like, well, why have I only won a £500 card for coming thirds? And you're like, what? So yeah, I think I
would have been happier with a Van der Voort than a Saka personally. I don't know.
I'd do anything for a Van der Voort.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, they announced that. Also, some other big news happened this weekend, and that was Man United losing 7-0 to Liverpool. Like, I hate Liverpool with a passion, but the look on Ricky's face with each one of those goals went in was just absolutely priceless.
He's gone.
Yeah, what a surprise. And Everton got a point. So, we should have got all 3, but we didn't. But 1 point takes us 1 point further away from getting relegated, which we probably deserve to be. But, yeah.
And also a little bird told me on the weekend that someone won Sorare Mega 3.
Oh, did I mention that? I'm not sure if I mentioned it. Yes, I won Sorare Mega 3. Obviously, I don't think the prizes come in until a couple of weeks after the game week closes because they have to wait for Sorare to dish them out. But yeah, very exciting. I think the last Sorare Mega 3 winner, which was like 4 weeks ago, won a Anthony Rare. So I think that's probably about 500 quid. So I'm pretty excited to see what you get, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it might be
Expecting big things
£500.
there.
Might be £500 now, but by the time you get it, it'll probably be about 275 the way the market's going. Yeah, you can dream.
I never sell. Never sell.
Never sell. Yeah.
Anyway, that's me.
Well, congratulations, royalty.
What about you, mate?
Me, what's bugging me is the NBA. I mean, I know you two aren't really into the NBA, but I've been playing it since launch. And I really enjoyed it to start with, but similar to the football side, that market's sort of really crumbling now. You know, I won a tier 2 this week, a young tier 2 from my team, the Brooklyn Nets, Nick Claxton, a high tier 2 at that, and it was worth like £9 when I got it. And it's just like,
is that a rare or limited?
Limited. Right. But you know, they
had tier 2 is tier 1 in football, isn't it?
We're tier 1 to 5 in basketball. Yeah. So yeah, that was seeing those drop is quite frustrating on that side. They had obviously really high initial prices, which you expect. Like that was, you know, people want the early mints, they want to get in early. But yeah, when you start yielding these small amounts each week, I don't think it's exciting to keep everyone engaged in it.
Is there any ETH prices at all?
Pardon?
Is there any ETH prizes at all in basketball?
No, there's no ETH over there, so it's only card wins, which is one of the things they're battling with. And you know,
sorry, I was just going to say they're probably trying to like wait to see like how successful it is before putting ETH thresholds in. But in a way, they kind of need to put ETH thresholds in first to like get people excited. It might be like a
yeah. You wonder if it's something to do with the American side of things that they're not allowed ETH thresholds, gambling laws and things. But you know, the main bug I have with it is that the limited amount of competitions they have is in the number, not the color. Limited. You know, you just get to a certain point in the amount of cards you got, and you have nowhere to use them at the moment. So there's no reason to buy any more. So people are putting 30 odd training lineups in, and there's no reason for them to buy any more cards because they can fill out the competitions. And
that's a good point.
You know, I go on Sorare Data on the lineup builder, builds my lineups for me, stick them in, whack a load of training teams in, and that's it. You know, it's something I think they need to look at, because if you increase the competitions, it gives you more chances to win. It gives you more engagement. You've got to buy more cards. You know, at the moment, there's no reason for anyone to buy anything, which just makes the market.
What other comps can they do? Do you reckon just? I think
they've actually reversed the amount of common competitions there are, but limited. They keep revolving these competitions: Eastern Conference, then Western Conference, and under 23.
Can't they just do them all?
Exactly. Why don't you just have constant under 23 so we know what we're planning for? So it's not like I'll buy these Western Conference players and in 2 weeks it's Eastern Conference. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's got a long way it can go. But yeah, I enjoy waking up to it. It sort of gives you that Asia America feel.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah.
So yeah, I really enjoy that. But yeah,
see, it seems like such an easy fix. It makes me like to put all those comps on at the same time. So it makes me think why they're not doing it. Is there a reason why?
I think people have got the cards to fill out the squads, and if you increase, because the prizes now require such a high amount of points because everyone's getting the same top quality cards now, and they're all putting them in the same competition. If you increase the amount of competitions, you've then got to spread these cards, get spread out across different competitions, given variance and like lower scores to win. And at the moment, you know, you've seen a lot of the same names in the same competitions every week. So yeah, that's really starting to
I've had an idea. What about they do like a hybrid competition, like where you put like 2 footballers in, 2 basketball players in, and like 1 other, and then you can like that'd be good.
One day that would be.
You'll never walk alone wanted to do that right at the beginning.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that was his concept.
I've had the same idea as him.
Yeah,
you're a bit of a Liverpool fan, aren't you?
You'd love to see it eventually, wouldn't you? It'd be great.
That would be cool, though.
More comps, more chances to win. That's what we all want. More chances to win in the end, don't we?
Exactly.
So, Rick, what's your prediction on the basketball? Is it going to continue to tank? Is it going to get any better? Is it going to die?
I don't know if they're going to change anything before the end of the season. That's because we're 3/4 of the way through the regular season. I wonder if anything will change now, because they've just changed the common comps and dropped them down, like cut them in half, and I'm not sure. I think they need to give us more ways to use the cards.
I wonder how many like actual American NBA fans are playing it. Like, I don't know how you'd figure that out, but like it might just be people like us over who are like football European, like mostly European football people who are just trying to have a little bit of a laugh doing it and not necessarily like really, really into it.
Yeah, I think you saw a lot of that with the MLB, but I think from the basketball side, they did actually get a bit of a different audience in. There was a lot of new names that popped up on.
Or Top Shot lot, wasn't it? They came across.
Yeah, I think it's got a lot of promise. But yeah, they have to find more ways to give us utility, so people keep buying cards. I've listened to some of the big NBA podcasts on Sorare, and yeah, they're talking about how long it's been since they bought a card. So that's not what you want to hear.
Bad time to be a baller.
Yeah, and the only other thing that I noticed this week when I was looking through is all these amateur competitions on the football side of things now. I really feel like their sole purpose now is just to provide common goalkeepers to the other leagues. Like, my main draft decision on those each week is which keepers what cap level do I want keepers to be at for the other comps. I'm not sure that is what they're intended for, but that is definitely the first thing that comes to mind when I see those amateur competitions now. What goalie do I need?
Have you seen any MLS amateur goalkeepers being awarded? Common goalkeepers, sorry.
No, there isn't.
Awarded? So you mean like? Yeah. Because there isn't awards, is there, for common? Is there? You don't get awarded common.
Oh no. So this brings me on to my point, right? Which is there's no at the minute cap 220, which is like one of the entry points limited for most people joining the platform. You would use a common goalkeeper, which you would have from a draft team, right?
Yeah.
There's no MLS draft.
Correct.
There's no way of winning common goalkeepers, including MLS. So what happens when Europe ends, we get to MLS and Asia only, and that means you cannot enter a cap 220 limited team with a common goalkeeper, right?
Oh, I see where you're going with that.
It's a good point. I'd like to think they're going to figure that out. Maybe the MLS has only just started, right? It's only a couple of weeks in. You know how they are sometimes a bit slow in terms of like new cards will be produced like a month into the season. Maybe they'll start an MLS comp because they've definitely got the rights to MLS, like the full rights for.
I think I don't think it's going to be J League at the moment because they don't have the license. It's not going to be K League at the moment because it's all gone to shite.
Fucked.
Yeah. But I saw today on Twitter that a lot of the new pictures for the MLS are up. I was looking at the Charlotte ones earlier. Ben Bender, I think it is, isn't it? Sort of long, luscious locks. His was up on there. So it looks like the new photos are in for the MLS, which leads me to believe we're not too far away from the new season cards. And maybe with the launch of new season cards, we see the amateur league.
Because otherwise, you are like fencing off a big. Well, you'd have
to buy a limited keeper, wouldn't you? You'd have to buy a limited keeper and then have a common.
Which is what, like minimum 25, 30 quid right now. Once they're the only leagues that are running, if the market goes up, 40, 50 quid. It's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, you're right.
Someone who's not bought into it.
Well,
that was my sort of spot this week. And then I was thinking to myself, if they don't add the leagues, then that means, do you then go, right, I'll enter a DMP 0 keeper as my limited keeper, I'll get a 0, and then build like four players out of 220? Is that the way it's going to be going? I don't know.
I've often thought that.
You won't have any commons, will you? You won't have any commons for any of the leagues, so it's not like you put a common striker in. I don't know how big the gap is between, the Europe season. Yeah, because it's only Europe seasons at the moment, isn't it? So yeah, there will be a sizable gap.
Yeah, as soon as it'll end, probably May time, I'm guessing.
They must have something planned for it. You'd like to think they have anyway.
Yeah, but there you go. Anyway, that was my little spot this week. So getting into kind of the main bulk of the session, we called the section 20 is plenty for 220, and that's going to make sense in a bit. But we're going to start with a little bit around kind of money on Sorare. So like talking about the topic of how much you can really make on Sorare. So focusing on kind of our experience on it, but then also the market's changed. So what do we think for someone entering now as well? So I'll start with you, Rick. How much do you think realistically you can make on Sorare? And you don't have to give us a number, but give us an idea on how lucrative has Sorare been for you to this date for someone who's new to it and doesn't know the history.
Well, to me, it's been lucrative because I've been in it for 3 years. So for me, I would never. So I think my port is currently worth 18 ETH, which has gone down a long, long way recently, but that's still a lot comparatively. I wouldn't be able to start and get anywhere near that now. So I'm in the fortunate position of being in early and seeing my investment increase just as the platform grew, which is not an option people are currently going to have, are they? They're going to have to trade their way up, win their way up, or, slow, consistent deposits, like a bit a month. So there was an aspect of almost like it being a get quick rich sort of thing at the start, wasn't it? Because you buy someone and they were just going to go up because of the platform growing. That's not really an option now. As you can see at the moment, everyone's price just goes through the floor at the moment. So
you're buying into a startup effectively. That's how it felt, right? So yes. a bit like when we all bought into FI, you were making money on growth of the platform, not actually.
You're making money on the numbers coming in rather than the.
Yeah. So I think the advantage I got from that is that I was able to, withdraw and get myself back to, close to no investment from the original investment. So yeah, I don't think it's really should be viewed as an investment tool anyway, especially nowadays. Is it? It's not a quick money maker anymore. You're paying to play a really fun fantasy game that's enjoyable. That should be the main your main aim. Is what I play it because I enjoy it, and that's the main reason. So there's the old saying of only put in what you can afford to lose, isn't there? There's the standard gambler's line. But I think there is. It depends if you believe in the product long term, which I'm probably at one of my lowest points of confidence, I'd have to say at the moment. But I still think it's going to be around for a long time. So, but the current prices then it could be viewed as an opportunity by some. I mean, some of the prices are really, really low compared to where they have been. Is what.
So the yield opportunity is greater, right? When the market drops,
much greater.
Players cost less money. Therefore, every win you make, you're getting that much closer to investment. So, I guess next question is, how much are you? Again, you put a figure on this, but how much are you or can you be making realistically each week? So, are you finding that even in its current state on the platform that you can be churning out pretty consistent money? And if so, someone new joining, what would they have to put in to reach that point?
Is this to me?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, yeah, I think it depends what you want. You get $5 for a limited threshold, and you can get a limited threshold team for pretty cheap, can't you? You can chuck in 50 quid to get yourself a decent set of players along with your commons, and $5 out of a $50 investment, is a solid return. Depending, it's a lot harder to hit nowadays, but you put in a bit more and you're aiming for a rare threshold team, £250 with an extra £50 a month or something, and you start aiming for the 2 thresholds and start getting yourself a return. Me personally, I aim for the 3 threshold teams. It's my first thing I aim for every week. I'm really crap at hitting them since the changes, but I think I have got the players. I have got the players to do it. I'm not getting there. I've only hit it twice so far, but I am picking up rewards in the NBA. A lot of the time they're low tiers. I won 50p rewards twice in a row, but I've been picking up quite a few rewards in football. Sometimes they're worth 2 quid, sometimes they're worth 12 quid, but it all keeps stacking up. But for a new person, I would think maybe 50 quid towards a limited team, maybe 250 quid towards a rare team. And I think you could probably start having a strong bash at thresholds. You add in that with the common teams, the amateur teams, and then you start looking at the 220 teams as well. You have the kickoff teams. So I do think there's a low budget set of competitions you can join in. Once you add all those in, that is a fair chunk. You can move your cards around and target each week depending on fixtures and who you've got. So yeah, you're not going to win a lot of money quickly unless you put in a solid amount anymore. And there's the risk of your cards depreciating as well. But I think for fun, I think between about 300 quid with, a monthly 50 quid bump, like you would when you go down the bookings and put an ACCA on anyway. I don't do that anymore. I'd rather put the money in Sorare. So I think
the good thing about Sorare, which I've always loved, and whenever anyone's asked me about it, I've said it's like entering a fantasy football team as a bet every week, whether that bet is £50 worth of players, £100 worth of players, £5,000 worth of players if you're minted. If you lose the bet, you keep your stake. Effectively, your stake can change. It can change with fluctuation of prices. But if people look at it more as a bet, where you just keep your original bet, that's the way I like to describe it. Because I think people are so skeptical about the whole thing, but effectively it's just fantasy football. Like fantasy football is a proven model that has been going for 50 years or so, I don't know, 30 years, whatever. Like that's not going to go away. Like people are always going to completely love fantasy football. So as long as they don't do anything major, like to be able to any major changes that screw you over, I don't think they're going to. Like, why would they want to do that? But like, I think the fact you can buy an ETH threshold team for limited for 50 quid, especially at the moment where it's cheap, and everyone wants to win loads of money, but winning 10% back as an ETH threshold every week, you'd soon have enough money to then buy a better player. You just got to keep building. You've got to be patient. You can't get rich in inverted commas quick like we when we started 3 years ago, like when it was so fresh and you could flip cards nicely, and ETH thresholds were very, very easy to get. If I was starting now, I'd do ETH thresholds team for limited, and I'd probably buy 4 cheap rares and another cheap limited keeper and enter the cap 220 rare, because you couldn't win the bigger ETH thresholds, that's cap 240, but it could at least give you that sort of look into the rare side of things.
I do exactly the same. That's exactly what I would do. I mean, that's kind of what I have been doing.
Yeah,
and that's
really do that alongside the common leagues, which I know the common leagues are mainly just a source of getting some keepers for cap 220s, but they're good fun as well. Like you can do little side games, like we're doing our own little side thing with Premier League. Like it gets a little bit of buzz about the game and gets people excited. Like I've managed to get people to sort of get involved that were previously skeptical in Sorare, just because it sort of gets them into it a bit, and it's free. It's not so much like oh crap, it's too expensive. They can just have a look at the game. When you're doing common stuff, like when you're just doing the common games, you can still see all the auctions for limiteds and rare. You can see what it would cost you.
So what you talk about building your teams, which is that's kind of the fun part, right? It's a little bit like fantasy football meets Football Manager meets whatever you want to call it, right?
Like Ultimate Team, isn't there? It's a lot of Ultimate Team in it.
It's like Ultimate Team. So like, at what point do you sell your players or cash in?
Never sell.
You're gonna say that?
No, I think for me personally, like I sell if I'm desperate to buy another card. I'm a sell to buy manager. I've never put any more money in than my first investment in the first few months I've started. So if any purchases any purchases I've made since then is selling cards. So my never sell thing, I actually do sell, but I tend to sell my winning cards from my rare comps that I don't want. So it's not big cards. Like if any card's worth more than £100, I tend to want it because it's probably a good card. But like a £50 card, sell a couple of those, and you've got enough to buy a good card that you want. What was the original question? I forgot the original question.
when you sell.
When do I sell? And when they get to an age where they're basically as old as me and can't move, is when I think, even if they're still good, probably going to sell.
Yeah, I like.
So I don't want to have to deal with it. Are they going to retire? You know, are they going to go flipping, start a different thing? I don't know. I just sell them.
Go on, Rick.
I always sell if I have one player who becomes worth a lot more than anyone else in my port. I don't ever like to have one really top-heavy player who's worth more than anything else. So I usually sell off someone like that. I also
what's
sell
top-heavy? What's like too much percentage in port?
So, well, if he goes so much further than, so say the top end of my port now is worth 0.7 is my highest player. If I've sold players when they've been like 1.2, 1.4 because they're worth, I just don't want that much tied up in one player. I also sell when the wife tells me we need to book a holiday, or pay for a house move. But I different to Johnny, I like to buy to fill a hole. If I see a really good opportunity come up, I'll buy it on credit cards on auction market, and then I'll go in and evaluate what I can sell to balance that off, and then I withdraw to balance it off. So yeah, I like to try and pick up opportunities when they come up and then sell. I'm actually selling quite a lot recently. I'm getting a lot more of a churn in my portfolio than I've ever had before. I quite enjoying the trading at the moment because everything's so low in price. It all just seems to make my eyes light up. But yeah, I would.
Even keepers are a little bit tempting at the minute, aren't they?
It is.
Rare keepers. You just spoke about rare trying to get a threshold in rare keepers now. Because I bought one this week. I ended up with Neto from Bournemouth, which I paid about 0.2 for. But there were some seriously cheap starting rare goalies. I
mean, that's cheap. That's really cheap. Like, yeah.
But I was seeing them for 0.12, 0.14 of like good goalies that I've had on my watch list. Not world beaters, but starting rare goalies, which is
how old is Neto as well? Because he's their club captain as well at the moment. Well, he captained them the other day. I don't know if
his contract goes in the summer. I'm pretty sure.
32.
It's all about if they get relegated, and then that Travers will be in goal.
Yeah, I guess. But I mean, if he gets relegated and they keep him, then he'll still have utility in the Championship. And if not, he'll go somewhere else. Like, he's not good. He's a good keeper, and he's from Barcelona.
Yeah, decent.
I think 32 is nothing for a goal.
I think my plan is to add Travers as well.
I would, yeah.
And Handcuff. But yeah, he just seemed like a good shout for the rest of the season. I really needed a rare goalie.
Nice.
What about you?
Bournemouth are crap though. Bournemouth are like the only other team that are definitely going to go down apart from Everton.
Southampton?
Everton, for sure. Southampton, Bournemouth. Yeah, it probably is that, isn't it? It's probably a 3.
Nah, we got it. We'll finish top 10, I reckon.
Anyway,
let's not talk about
that. What's my... How much am I making, I guess, is a question. So it's different again for me because I'm probably the extreme. You're one end of the spectrum, John. I'm the other end. So like you keep, hold, and build. I tend to start building and then mass fire sell. But generally, because I'm buying something at home, so I've been on it at the same time as you boys, and I put in the money for a house deposit, and then I started again. Then I put in money for a van, started again, put in for another house deposit, started again. So for me, like, it's really important to cash out because I think I said this on the other part. I build slowly, so I'm slightly different. I'll put in like say 50 quid or 100 quid a month, a little bit like a savings, so I don't notice it affecting me, but I'll see my gallery building. Obviously, historically, that would make a loads more impact on your gallery if a few hundred quid here and there. But and we're going that way again now, to be honest. But for me, I just needed to have like an exit point. Unfortunately, what tends to happen is that exit point happens quickly, and then I have to mass fire sell, and that's a tricky position to be in because you got people like Pavel who want to pull your pants down for 140% or whatever it is to take your gallery.
He's only
You'd have to be-
129 nowadays. Very reasonable.
Oh, is he? What a man! So you kind of then you're left at the point of going, right, okay, you're gonna have to graft and sell every one of these players separately, or like find someone else that can do me maybe a 110, 120 price. So yeah, I kind of, what am I making? I'm not making now what I was making before. When I had my rare team churning back in the days, that was easy. You know, you'd easily turn around basically 50 quid to 100 quid a week just in ETH, plus maybe 100 to 500 quid a week in prizes. That's changed massively to now churning $5 in limited ETH a week through the cap 240 limited, and then picking up the your prizes throughout the limiteds that are worth generally like 1 to 10 quid. But it's still fun, and it's like
it's still good fun though, isn't it? That's the, I think that's the thing.
I've taken all my risk out of it, and I now treat it totally as a like fantasy football laugh with the boys.
Exactly.
Like buy players for a laugh, and but also it's quite fun to like challenge yourself to build it back up again, a bit like on Footy Manager. So you're buying a player, then trying to make money for your club, and then working your way back up again. But equally, it's super hard not to get FOMO and go, oh shit, like I really want to buy a super rare or a rare, and that's the biggest discipline, is like not overstretching and buying players that you can't afford or shouldn't be buying, and then going, shit, I should be buying like another 9 or 10 players to stack around this guy to make it even worth doing.
Yeah,
so
it can develop into something else, can't it? Like you buy 1 or 2 players, you're like, well, I might as well buy some more, because otherwise there's no point in having those.
Yeah, and you convince yourself then you could win if you added like 1 more player, and then you enter it and you get a DMP, and then you throw your laptop out the window.
The thresholds can add up over time, can't they? Like I think mine are 3.5 ETH. You know, that's a solid amount to just be slowly raking in over the years. So yeah,
here's a question for you boys: 20 quid. What would you do? What would you build?
Whoa! It's not that kind of show, mate.
We're past the watershed. It could be.
Okay,
that's true.
20 quid. What would I do? I do a lot of things for 20 quid at the moment.
I would actually, yeah.
How about? I got a suggestion. What about building a limited 220 team?
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. If only I prepared for that. Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
So I reckon what we should do is set ourselves a little challenge.
Ooh.
So 20 quid for a 220 team, starting today. So we got to buy or own those players and play them each week, where possible, in the limited cap 220 league. So we'll keep track of scores and prices, and the objective is to try and build that team up. So you can sell them, you can do what you like, but we still sit within that 220 league. And the objective is to basically show, first of all, is it even possible? So we'll have a little play now. Show us what you got. Is it possible to build a team for 20 quid? And secondly, is it possible to make money from 20 quid? Because the idea is, most of my mates who, unless they're like into it like we are, or like there's the odd person you can convince on. So many people I speak to, and they're like, nah, not interested. But you could probably twist someone's arm and go, oh mate, chuck in, rather than buying that next round or whatever, just chuck in 20 quid here, or chuck in 20 quid and let me do it, type of thing. Obviously we don't multi-account or manage other accounts, but you know what I mean. So that's what we're going to explore anyway. So who wants to kick off?
So what you're saying is 20 is plenty for 220. Is that what you're saying?
It could be. Let's find out.
Makes sense now.
Should we find out?
Let's find out.
Who's on screen then? Who are we going with?
Oh, I can go first on this.
Go on, Nick. You go, mate. You go first.
This completely random topic that you've just mentioned that I seem to have actually prepared for. Let's. Here we go. All right.
Here he is.
This is my current buy-in team for the game week. Actually, I've just realised after what Johnny said earlier that I thought I'd won a rubbish tier 3, but there's 5 tiers now. So
yeah, that's good, mate.
Tier 3's all right.
I was complaining last night that I couldn't believe 387 was a tier 3, and it turns out that's a different thing now.
Look at Soma. What a man.
What a man. Right. Cap 220 for 20. Here we go.
Here's 20 plenty.
on a Sorare data watch list. Obviously, couldn't live without it. I found it really tough, actually. So I came up with this about 4 days ago. I spent the rest of the time trying to change it, and I actually ended up going back to pretty much what I started with. It's really tough to get good matchups for players and get them under the cap, if that makes sense. So I looked at who I could sub in for my common goalkeeper. So I had to find someone nice and 40-ish. I ended up on Bazuna from Southampton for 39. So he's the base, giving me the most amount of space to spend elsewhere. I aimed for spiky players, who are going to hit you 25 or 80. At that level, that's all you can sort of hope for. I picked up a couple of 2-player stacks as well, hoping that playing together, if their team does well, that might be able to give me a little edge.
It.
Yeah. I also went for players I know because they're so cheap. I think it gives me a little edge knowing their teams and if they're going to play and having a bit of experience with them rather than just picking random £3 players and hoping for the best. I also left a little chunk of cap room for week 1 to allow for like adjustments and things, because the worst thing you want is picking this squad. They do well week 1 and then you can't play in week 2 and you've got to trade your way out of a hole and probably take a loss. I've gone for 7 players. I know I need to play 4 with a common goalie, but yeah, I wanted that flexibility for injuries and cap spikes and picking a good fixture, etc. And I picked a couple of Consadole players, Ogashiwa and Fukuyamori.
What a surprise!
Yeah,
Who'd have thought, eh?
2 legends of mine. On the basis as well, they've got a really tough fixture this week playing Yokohama. So while I probably wouldn't use them this week, there's probably not much danger of their cap, their L15 going up too much based on this result. So that's what I went for. So yeah, there's the 2 Constable lads. Fukimori's an absolute legend for me. One of my favourite players on the game. I have his super rare, is rare, and it's limited. Anytime I can get involved in anything, I will. Absolute legend. He has the ability to score well as well. So
he's literally the definition of a spiky, peaky.
He is spiky, isn't he?
Troughs. He's like the Castro Montes of Japanese football.
Yeah. And I went for Ogashiwa from the same team up front. Just come back from injury in the last game. Had links to Europe in the summer. I think he's really good. Playing just in behind the striker, so he can get you that AA as well. So I've gone for those 2. And I picked up a couple of Austria Wien players as well. Jukic, under 23, he's been scoring really well recently, and for £3.72 for someone who started come back after the break, showing a good bit of AA.
Yeah, he had a bad injury, didn't he? And he's so it's always nice when their last 5 is like way higher than their last 15, like average. Like
yeah,
nice
I try to avoid under 23s because of added value there, but it was a good opportunity I could miss. And the only one I added today was Blessing, because I think he's nailed to start in the middle for them, and he started with a 81 in his first game.
Not bad.
Seems really cheap, seems really nailed. So yeah, that one was an easy one for me. And then
awful hair though.
Yeah. I was tempted by Pomical was the other option in there, but I didn't go for him in the end. And the other 3 I've got, Handel, also from Austria. He was a player I've followed quite a lot. But he's had bad injuries and been in and out of the side. But his recent scores have looked really good again. He's got back in the squad and he's putting up really big AA. He got.
Did Ricky just leave the stream then?
Yeah, his team's that good.
He's that good. He's exploded,
mate. We're gonna have to crack on, aren't we? So
shall I go?
John, yeah.
Yes. So hopefully you can get up your Sorare data for me.
Yeah, you
because
share
I'm
your
still
screen,
unable to.
please.
Thank you.
You shared it yet?
So again.
You got to share your screen, mate. Oh, you want to do it mine? Okay, cool.
No, you.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Sorry. Yeah.
So it's all going very well here. Yeah, crack on them. Let's go.
So I've used a couple of players that I already have in my portfolio from previous purchases.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, mate. He's back.
He's back, is he?
Go on.
He's
Straight back in, Rick.
Sorry,
John
it said reach your guest limit. I thought you just had enough of me.
No. We were sat on tenterhooks waiting for the next one.
All right, I'll share the screen then. Put it back up.
Carry on. Carry on, sir.
Put me back up and I'll finish off. So yeah, that was Handel. And then I picked Yamimi from Gambler Osaka. Projected to start most weeks, I think, and good young player. Really cheap. I'm just hoping that he can find some form again and that Gambler will have a good season. And for a striker at that price, starting striker, that's what drew me in. Strikers was a really hard position to get in, obviously, because it's a premium to pay for them. And the other one I had was Tin Klavertik. Really, really cheap, 0.001. I have owned him for a while, and he used to score really well for me. I used him. You can see these spikes he's got in here. He's got 100 in the locker. He's got AA of 31.
Yeah, some nice green there.
31. He's got the ability to put in some really strong AA and some really high scores.
The key thing there as well, 90. He just plays every game. Without fail. That's
the type of player I need to win something here, who's going to be able to start. So I can.
What's his current cap at the minute, Rick?
His current cap is 50 on the knob.
That's all right.
Bounce on the knob. What's
on the knob? 50 on the knob. We've all been there.
So I'll just show you how I'm lining up for this week, which is cap 220. So I am going to go for Bazunu in goal, Bazunu at 39, Plavetic in defence, Djukic in midfield. I'm going to go for Yamami. I'm butchering this.
Yamami.
And Handel in the Austria stack. I'm going to avoid the Consadole boys because of the bad fixture. So that is, what I'm going to go for this week. That's me.
Nice. I'll be beating. I will be beating that team. Just so you know, though.
Yeah. Of course, mate. Of course.
So I have gone slightly less prepared than Ricky with his 7 players he's purchased for future-proofing his team. That's very impressive, Rick. I've only bought 4 players just to cover me for this weekend. I've left a nice little £5 left over, which I might just cash out as ETH and take it out if that's all right.
It's not how you play the game, John. And you never sell anyway.
That's true, yeah. So I'll start with a player I've actually just bought today to cover me for this week. So I've gone for Yamakawa, if you'd like to type that in, Jesse.
Yamakawa. Do you want me to build it as we go?
Yeah, go for that, yeah.
Yeah. So a little concept builder.
Like it.
Yamakawa, where's he going in goal?
He's defender.
Yamakawa.
Yeah, so it's Yamakawa.
Oh, yeah.
So he is
Shuki Yamakawa.
That's right. So he is a starting centre back for Vissel Kobe, who, if you follow J League like we all seem to do, Vissel Kobe are absolutely flying. They're 3 wins from 3. This weekend, I think they've got who have they got? They've got someone at home. It's a good fixture. I've forgotten who it is, but they got a good fixture. He is a nailed starter, and he is by far their cheapest defender. So I don't know if that means he's particularly good, but his AA is pretty solid.
£3 for top of the league's pretty good, isn't it?
And he's £3.20. What's that? Sorry.
Kikuchi's injured as well.
Injured, yeah. And I was having a little look at. I don't think Kikuchi was actually really affecting whether he was starting or not, whether Kikuchi was available. So I think he seems to be a pretty nailed start, and I think he's cheap at £3.20. If you look at the prices of other starters in Vissel, especially
I'll be happy with that.
Kikuchi, and being a 24-year-old is is very young in Asia. So I think he's got a lot of growth left in him. That's for sure. So he's my defender for this week. So that's someone I purchased earlier. Midfielder wise, I've gone for a player I already have, which is Sasha Horvath. So it's Horvath. That's the one, the first one there. So he plays for Lask, which is, I think they're third in the Austrian league. So they're a good team. They have a tough fixture, I think, this week. They're playing top of the league. They're playing Red Bull Salzburg. But they are playing them at home, and they're third themselves, so they're a good team. If you look at is there a way to go to his scores from that page there, Jess? Or
I can.
He's very, very solid. He's not spectacular. He's not a very peaky player like some of the ones Ricky's went for. But I wanted to get a couple of real solid scores in there to sort of support the peaky players I have. He tends to score pretty good AA if you look at his sort of general decent. I think he's a sort of a deep line centre midfielder. He had a good game week last week, which is annoying because I didn't start him in any of my teams. But he's currently £1.50.
That's good value, isn't
it? Which I think is great value. I think he's 26, 25, 26. Yeah, he's a solid no-brainer for me. And if we weren't doing this Cap 220 competition, I was going to be putting him in there anyway. So I think he's 48 is his average for the cap, which is pretty low. So yeah, he's my midfielder. So going to forward now. So this is my big money move I made today. Forward. I've gone for Cyril Dessers, who you probably have heard of. He played for Genk last year. I think he had a little stint at Feyenoord or PSV as well. But he now plays for Cremonese, who are one of the poorest teams in Italy. But he is a key player for them. He's been injured. He came on at half time in the previous match and scored 2 goals in the second half of a game they lost. But he is, if they wanted to get out of trouble, he is their player who's going to get them out of trouble. I think I spent £7 on him, which is, big mega bucks for our £20 cap. He's a solid player. He's got the chance of doing peaks and troughs, like Ricky said. And I think they've got Fiorentina at home, which isn't obviously an easy fixture this weekend. But Fiorentina I think they're currently playing, or they've just finished playing the Europa League game tonight. So they're going to be a tired team. I think Cremonese need to win games.
He likes the subs bench.
Likes the sub bench, yeah. Do you know what I love? I love a player that comes on at half time. That means, and especially as he's scored straight off the bat, 2 goals, came on at half time. He's starting next game, guaranteed.
Guaranteed. It's got impact.
That's the Tornado guarantee. You got it in writing. So yeah, he's my sort of maverick player that I've put in. I think he's going to be a winner for me this weekend.
At 40, mate, that's not bad, is it?
Exactly, and another reason I got him in is because at the time I only had 41 to play with, so I would love to get someone higher, but that was the best that was available. Okay, so my next player is, well, I'll tell you what, let's put my common keeper in, so we know what the last bit of cap is. So my common keeper is what's his name? From Torino. Is it Milinkovic Savic, his brother? Something Savic.
Yeah, Savic.
Yeah, I think he's got I think his score is like 46. So obviously it's common. So yeah, is it coming up?
I seem to want to find him.
Anyway, it's the Torino keeper. He's cheap. He's a very small, low cap, 46, and he gives me a nice little bit to play with, which is how we got the sort of reasonably good defender midfielder in.
It is a Savic. You're right.
Yeah, why is it?
Because it's got an accent on the seat.
Vanja
he comes up as
Savic.
Vanja. He comes up as Vanja. That's why. I mean, they're not particularly good Torino. I think they've got a pretty good fixture. I think they've got Lecce away this week, which is Lecce, one of the poorest teams. But
Torino Lecce, yeah.
Bruno Lecce. So yeah, he's in my commons. So that doesn't give me a lot of cap space for the last player, but I've gone for someone you'll know, Jesse, a little bit. I've gone for Matteo De Los Santos.
An old favourite he is.
You remember your boy De Los Santos. So it's not someone that I've bought, but someone I already owned. He was at, is it Vélez Sarsfield? That's this team.
That's right, yeah.
Yep. So he was an extreme, as you well know yourself, he was an incredibly good, cheap AA scorer. I don't think Vélez Sarsfield were particularly good, but he would always get good scores. He fell out of favour or potentially got injured at the end of last season and then joined Colo Colo, which is a team in Chile, which is covered.
Yeah,
I mean, that's solid, those scores there. For cheap, I mean, obviously you'd like better scores, but for the price he is, I think that's really good value. But anyway, so he joined Colo Colo. He taken some time to sort of get acclimatized, but he started the last game and he got a 24 AA and got 59 points, which I think is very good. He's due to start this weekend as well, and they've got I think they've got like a top of the table clash, but they are home. So yeah, he's my last guy.
No Everton, you coward. No Everton, what a coward.
No Everton. Oh, we'll talk about Everton later, mate. They're in my start and sit 'em, don't worry.
So you got 2 points to spare as well. I'll put
two points to spare. 2 points to spare.
And then total spend is £14.43.
Yep.
Absolute budget.
I just think that's an absolute bargain. Like I was seeing if I could maybe upgrade on De Los Santos a little bit, but you know, for the sort of value I had left, there wasn't really a lot, and all I was seeing was roughly the same scores for £5 higher. I was just like, I'll stick with De Los Santos, I think. So yeah, I think that's a solid team, and that certainly beat Ricky's team, that's for sure.
You did really well to do that whole thing without your face moving at all as well, which was really good.
Oh, was I frozen?
Yeah, I think just maybe tap stop video and then start again at the bottom.
Oh, that's frustrating. Am I still frozen now?
Yeah.
It's all right, mate.
You go for it, Chris. Take us through.
Cool. So for me, I've got in goal, I'm going with big Edgar Badilla. So Edgar Badilla, who is keeper at Elche, who are bottom of the league. But the reason I'm picking him is because his scores are like, he tends to be quite, you could call him peaky for a keeper. He tends to go like up and down. Generally has a lot of shit games, basically. So his score stays pretty low, which is why I quite like him. But he'll have like the odd decent game as well. So he's like, there's only a few peaks, but when he has his good games, I think he could be a bit of a difference maker. He never goes high enough because they are bottom of the league. He never goes high enough to be sort of too far out of the cap. So I've kept him in my common team, and I'll probably keep him as my keeper here.
I've got him in common as well. Continually crap is sometimes useful, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially for a keeper. Then in defence, I got big Johnny Mensah. So old crew favourite of mine. I think he's like been perennially underrated. Like again, similar sort of player. I mean, he's £1.80 here as a pickup, which is why I've got him. Yeah. But as a kind of player, he also has the ability to hit like fairly peaky scores at times. Like gets the odd game where he power and a header. He's not the cheapest cap wise, but I just think he's got the ability for those peaks now and then, which I want.
He's at San Jose now, isn't he? Is it my boys?
Exactly, yeah. He's at San Jose. Yeah. San Jose have got like quite a decent run of fixtures as well. So they've got Colorado at home, which I think they'll do. St. Louis away, which they should do. Then you've got Toronto again, which they could do. Houston. So it's not till they get to New York really that I think they might have like a trickier game. So yeah, John Mensah's my next one. I actually considered stacking up the San Jose guys to a point. Yeah, I stopped last second and went for some others instead. But yeah, it was my original plan.
I can't believe I forgot Jackson Yule. I feel dirty. Maybe I can make a little trade.
You'll regret that, mate.
Yeah,
you will regret that. Then I've got, who have I gone in midfield? So midfield, I've gone for Osma. Remember Osma? He's a bit of an old cult hero on the platform.
Is that FC Seoul?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Twitter
what's
legend.
it?
It's a bit of a controversial one because the K League is obviously all over the shop. It may go down Swan. I don't care. For $3.49 for a player of Osma's quality, I would say it's worth it. So he played. I got him in A because of his price. B because he played this week. His cap allocation is 46 at the minute, which is way too cheap for a player of his quality. Same again at his price. And then he played this week and he hit.
He scored, didn't he?
Hit 78. That's from centre back, and he still hit nearly 20 as an AA. And historically, his AA is always pretty strong as well. So it was only that like run of games where he got injured, then he came back in and was sub for a bit, which kind of balanced out the other way. So for me, yeah, he just seemed like a no-brainer. The risk is obviously within the K League. Then I've gone. Let's go up front. So up front, I've gone for Fafa. It's in Fafa Pico. So he was picked up from Houston and has just moved to. What got him up? No. So Pico. This is the thing. Pico comes up as a midfielder as well on here most of the time. But the reason I got him in is because he's got a forward card as well. So you have to pay a little bit extra for his forward card. His midfield card is $3.85. I actually paid. What did I pay for him? I paid £6, I think it was. So I paid just over £6. I'll give you the exact price so it's fair on the thing. So I paid £6.07 for Fafa Pico. So he's my striker. And then my additional player that I got in was another. Did I get another forward in? I think I actually did. Let me check my team. Yes. So it works anyway. So my other player I got in was. This will make you laugh. Probably thought he was dead.
Oh no!
So big Harris Seferovic.
You've not gone for Seth.
What are you doing?
Did you know what's happened to him?
You disgust me.
I don't know.
So Harris has moved from Galatasaray, where he wasn't playing really, to Celta. So that's recently happened. The reason I've gone for him, let's get him up screen. A couple of reasons. One is because his cap allocation is so low. So 31 just made it easy to play him in 220 and give me like extra allocation space. Secondly, because he's made his move from Gala to Celta. So it's just opportunity. So he came in, when is it, 3 or 4 games ago? Yeah, 4 games ago, started off as sub for the first few, then started a game and scored up top. His AA is always going to be shit, so you're relying on decisives, which is fine. Started sub again last game, so I think he's probably going to be like anything from like generally half hour to 60-minute man most of the time, but probably has the ability to go to like 24-60, 24-60.
He's got some really lovely orange scores there, mate.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Horrendous.
That's horrific. And also, is he lied in his birth certificate? There's no flipping way he's only 31 still.
Look at these over here, though. You forget. I know how much you love Benfica, John. You forget this man used to be Benfica's top striker.
Yeah,
I was 28 goals in a season.
I was also good in 1998 as well, but
yeah, that's true.
And the third and final benefit of Aaron Harris is you've got 2 international games coming up, which I'm actually picking him up, hoping that I get. He's got Vallecano, which is a good fixture anyway, and then I'm hoping if he does do well going into the internationals, I might actually just flip him and hopefully make a few quid on him and then move on.
Does he start for Switzerland or not?
So he used to. Then at the World Cup he was dropped, but he wasn't playing at Galatasaray, which was the reason for it. So we'll see.
But he's still not playing at Celta though.
Yeah, I mean he's going to be a squad player, but for his price, he's worth it.
To be fair, for his price, that's not too bad. Yeah.
So total cost for this team says 13.11, but it's not taking into consideration the extra I paid for Fafa. So the total price was £15.16, which leaves some additional, almost a £5 to spend, as well as the cap space. So I've used up that plus Badia, which was 45. So I've got 4 remaining points in cap space as well. So
Interesting.
that's me.
So you two decided not to spend all your money this week.
That's typical.
Correct.
Typical us.
I thought,
right.
yeah, I thought, you know, we were spending it all building the squad, so I went all in.
Well, you can, but the question what was the question? The question was 20 is plenty, or is 20 plenty for 220? So I guess the answer is yes, it's fine. Yes, you can enter a team for 20 quid. But the second question is actually, are these teams really going to be competitive? Which then goes to the point of like, so why are you sort of playing the platform? Is it just for fun? And so will we get enough out of it, or actually can we make some money out of these teams, which is the plan? So we'll see.
Well, let's see. Well, yeah, I'm confident. I'll return a reward within the first month.
Whose team's best out of those 3? What are we thinking?
Not the one with Haris Seferovic up front.
Yeah, definitely not that one. Is just a quick one. Is my video working now?
No.
You are.
You're fine, mate.
Froze for that whole
Okay,
thing.
fine.
Yeah, you're fine.
Right. I look forward to it. I think my squad is clearly stronger than both of yours. So
I disagree. And also, what I am looking forward to, I've just had another little idea. 20 is plenty for 220, but maybe next month is 40 naughty for 240. That's what I want to know.
Ooh.
You could try that.
Wow.
A limited one where we buy a keeper as well.
I like it. Let's see. We'll see how 220 goes.
One victory at a time.
I like it.
That's true.
Right.
Nice.
What's next?
Anyway, we answered the question. Let's keep going. Next up is Pick'em or Bin'em, which, just as a reminder, Pick'em is a player that maybe you wouldn't normally play him, but this game week it's favourable. There's something that's telling you that you should be playing this player, or you think, absolute stud, going to smash this week. And then Bin'em is a player who you actually typically would play, and you think maybe others on the platform probably would be playing them, but there's a reason you think this game week they shouldn't be playing them. Who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go first.
On then, Tornado.
What, are we going Pick'em first or Bin'em first? What are we saying? Go a little Pick'em, shall we?
Totally up to you, mate.
Start with the good news. I'm going to go for my Pick'em as Damari Gray.
Oh.
Yeah, Damari Gray, Ole.
Really?
Yep. So the time has finally come. I don't know quite what Deitch was thinking, but he's decided not to play him since he's joined. Maybe he just wanted someone who runs around a bit more, but he was our top goal scorer before. I mean, that's not saying much.
Look at that, 4 goals.
Yeah, 3 or 4 goals. But it looks like he's in now. He started last game, scored a penalty, played well. He's a very good player, Damari Gray. He's frustrating. He can be a sort of peaks and troughs player, but he's creative. He's good. He's what we need. We've got a good fixture this week at home to Brentford. Not that we have many good fixtures, but I think we're going to beat him. And also, we got an apology in midweek from the Referees Association for not getting given a penalty, a Stonewall penalty, which means we're guaranteed to get given a penalty this weekend. And he is on penalties. So, and
is he like guaranteed penalty taker?
Yeah, he's guaranteed if he's playing. If he's on the pitch, I'll be pretty annoyed if he isn't. But he's guaranteed penalty taker unless somehow Calvert-Lewin is back. But I'm pretty sure actually
he doesn't play football, does he?
No, that's true. But his limit is £6. So when Premier League came in into Sorare, if you exclude his crazy prices for like first sort of few editions of the 1,000 limiteds, like he was worth like a good sort of £10 to £15. Like people were spending a lot of money on him. Like he was a good player, and he's just price has plummeted. Like one, obviously because the prices have gone down in general, and 2, because he wasn't playing. I don't think he can get much lower than what he is now. Personally, you can pick up a good card from him for £6, £6.50, something like that at the moment, which I think is good value. It's a forward card as well, which is always nice. Yeah.
But importantly, you think he's going to smash it this week, though. So he's your
Importantly, I actually think Everton are going to win this weekend, and I think he's going to play a big part of it. Takes all our free kicks. Him and Dwight McNeil will be on corners probably. I think if we do well, which I'm hoping we do, he will probably do well. So that's my shout.
Great utility in the Championship next year as well.
Plus the Championship's covered, so there is that. Mate, we only 2-0 to Liverpool though, so
Ricky T, who's your pick'em?
My pick'em is I've got an under 23 gem for you who's been performing very well. His name is Yusuf Gazabegovic. Jusufg. There he is. Plays for Sturm Graz. This guy,
tasty,
is really good.
He's got a good last 5 games. Christ.
I've owned him. Which is how I know about him. But I've just watched him gradually get better and better. And I thought his performances this year were a bit of a flash in the pan. But he's actually been performing really, really well and consistently, and it's ramping up and up. And you can see he got 52 AA a few weeks ago.
That's mad, yeah.
27 AA, conceding a goal. He's got decisives in him now. I've seen a lot of rave reviews about him. He's got nailed starting positioning. For someone slightly under the radar, I don't know if he plays for Bosnia. The international fixtures are coming up, but I don't know if he's in the squad. If he's not, he should be soon. But as an under 23 for another year as well, for 24, he's someone that I really liked, and I like his fixture this week. I think that a home fixture, I think he's going to carry on his form. So
aren't they playing Austria Vienna this weekend, mate?
They are, yeah.
Isn't that 2 of your players from your Cat 220 team?
It is, yes.
Oh, so
as proven by his scores here, he can still put a really good score.
Okay, all right.
And as neither of my players from Austria are strikers, I don't need them to score necessarily to have a good game week. But this is just someone that I've been following for a while, and I think he's really starting to trend highly upwards. And at 0.05 was his average for his rare, £7.30 for a limited. I back him to have another good game week this one and going forward as well. So he'll be someone I'll be plugging.
That is cheap. That's cheap for his rare as well. Yeah. Really cheap for his rare. And he looks really mean as well, which
he does, doesn't he?
When you're at fullback, you want to look like prime Gary Neville, don't you?
Does anyone want to look like a Neville? I'm not sure.
Well, just yeah.
Nice, Rick. I like that. So I've gone for who's mine this week? I've gone for Alex Ring. So I've gone Alex Ring. A couple of reasons. One, because his cap is 42. His L15 is 43. I don't understand why it goes 43 to 42, but anyway, let's roll with that. So his cost is 42 for cap allocation, which is for me good value. Cost-wise, is super cheap if you decide to get him in. He's got Salt Lake away, which isn't the easiest fixture, but I just got a feeling that Austin are going to have a bounce back week this week. So they've got an absolute dicking in the CCL by La Violette, or whatever they're called, which is the Haitian team that have never won fixture. And they beat them 3-0. But the coach Wolf they changed his side quite a lot, dropped Ring, which means Ring's definitely playing this week. And Ring played last MLS game at centre-back. And smashed up 31 AA. So I've got a feeling that Austin win. He starts centre back. He hits a similar score, and if he can hit a decisive, then he's got a proper peak in him. So
is he a defender card or is he a?
No, he's a
midfielder card. I got super rare. I just sold his limited actually because he doesn't get the clean sheet like a defender, does he? He doesn't get
that's right.
He doesn't get the balls out. From But he did put up a hell of an AA in the first game.
That is still good.
He's definitely going to play this weekend because he got.
What's his price? What's his price for his limited then? How much is it?
It's cheap. He's $3.97.
That's cheap, yeah.
And I might even add him in with my £5 I got left. He's also got La Violette in the home fixture, which they should almost 100% win that fixture. They've got a 3-0 deficit to turn around, so they're going to have their best team playing, I would have thought.
Well, why do they bench their best player? Like, surely the whole point of doing well to get into the Champions League is to then do well in the Champions League.
Yeah, but the team they played were that bad.
They thought they could bench the players, and they
They did also say that there was a tree on the pitch. I don't know if it was true, but a tree on the pitch. Is like a real random island pitch? Yeah, I don't know. I had a funny report on it.
It wasn't the best
tree.
No.
What, like Treebeard? Like a Treebeard from Lord of the Rings?
Possibly.
His name is Alex Ring. His name is Alex Ring as well. You know.
Unconfirmed Treebeard. But anyway, John, who are we binning this week?
So binning. So this isn't necessarily binning. Like, I'm not getting rid of this guy because I really rate him, but I am benching him this weekend. It's our old boy Kessler, New England Reds centre back.
The question is he Henry or is he not?
Yeah, that's true. He's got cards of both, I think. So he's started the season on absolute fire. I think he's got 80 and 76 or something in his first 2 games. Have a look. I can't remember what it is.
How do you feel about his meanness in that photo?
He looks kind as soul, doesn't he?
Doesn't he?
Yeah, so he started the season on fire. So he's gone 82-70. I mean, that's bloody good. New England,
bad, is it?
New England have started the season on fire as well. If you were just sort of looking through your teams, starting players without sort of checking who they were playing and stuff, you probably would start Kessler. But for me, they're playing LAFC away this weekend. LA are a flipping good team, full of studs. I think he's going to come crashing back down to sort of a low score. And I think people might not necessarily, they'll just plug him in and think he's going to do well. Personally, I don't think he's going to go well this weekend. So I'll be benching him, or at least putting him in a team that I don't expect to do particularly well. He's definitely going to be on my bench list.
Nice.
That's great because I've got to use his rare and his super rare this week. So
do you know? Interesting.
If he's anything like my other benchums, then you should probably start him.
Interesting fact from last game week, John. No away team won.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. I guess that doesn't happen very often, especially as there's like 15 games in the MLS every week.
Well, yeah, although home advantage is massive, so there's normally like a pretty heavy swing in the home teams, and it works out in scores and so rare as well. But not often every single team away team loses.
Was it because there was lots of trees in the pitch?
There could have been unconfirmed tree beards on the pitch. Neither confirm nor deny.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
Ricky T.
He's my bench. Bench him. Stick him on the bench. Don't play him. Definitely not in super rare. 100%.
Yeah, throw it on the bench or the bin.
Right, I can be really quick here. My sit-em is Manchester United because I think this is the week where the fixture congestion, catches up. They played a full starting 11 again, the same one that lost to Liverpool tonight. So I think there is going to be some proper rotation against Southampton. They probably focus that as the fixture that they can win without a full strength 11. So I think it's a risk to play any of the Man United stars this weekend because I think there will be some serious changes from the team that's played tonight and against Liverpool when they got battered. So yeah, I don't think you can play anyone probably apart from the goalie with like 100% confidence.
What about McSauce? I feel like it's a McSauce kind of game.
Maguire's definitely playing, isn't he? 100% coming.
You can imagine Malacia, Sancho, Maguire, Lindelof. You can make cases for McTominay, Wan-Bissaka. I don't like relying on a Man United player in my strongest side this weekend.
Yeah, good.
Nice.
Plus they're absolute tosh as well. And lost 7-0 to Liverpool.
Just won in Europe though. How did Everton get on in Europe this week?
We did really well like 7-10 years ago.
Nice, Rick. I think that's quite a wise choice. I'm going for a team as well. Orlando City, which they're probably my second team in the MLS as well, which is again controversial. But they've had a really good start to the season. Like super strong in defence. They had a CCL game against Tigres, which they would expected to get beat if not dicked in. Tigres are really strong. guess they had an amazing game, but they all actually were pretty solid. They played their first team pretty much. And in fact, pretty much everyone, apart from Enrique, I don't particularly recognise, but Kara's been playing pants, so that's probably why. I worry that they're going to play this next game week, and everyone's going to think they're going to win because they're playing against DC, but they're playing DC away, and it's that typical game where you should win, but you've just had, given everything in a CCL game, and you underestimate DC and Rooney, and then DC actually win a game. And that's kind of what happened to, I think, Austin in the first match. So yeah, I would this week. Most weeks I would go against it, but this week I would not rely on anyone from Orlando City.
What, even your boy Halliday?
I mean, maybe Halliday. I mean, look at that. That wasn't a bad little tip, was it?
Yeah.
Eh?
Better than my tip.
Toilet tip.
How did yours go, mate?
Who did I say now? Platinks. He got 20. That's decent, isn't it?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Anyway, right. Start 'em, sit 'em, done.
Little toilet tip.
Toilet tip of the week is up next. Who wants to go first? Rick, do you want to go?
I can go. So last week I picked Tarragona, the striker from Gimnasia. He started his first game since returning from injury and put up a decent score and has risen in price. That's probably the only time that I'll give you a good tip, so I just wanted to highlight that.
That's why you're letting us know, isn't it?
Yeah. Today I am going for maybe I can show you. Have a look at this. Have a look at this chap. Santiago Ascacaba. I really can't pronounce names, can I?
I'm still seeing Gazabezovic.
Here we go.
There you go. Ascacaba.
I know him because I was quite a big Hertha fan, and he was a Hertha player, and he's a Hertha card, and I bought him as a Hertha player, and then he ended up falling out of favour and moving over to Argentina for Estudiantes, where he is now got in the team, cemented himself in there, and has started to put in really strong AAs in 90 minutes.
Yeah, that is good. No decisive in that last game either. 30.
Exactly. Getting up to a 71. You can see he was really patchy at Hertha and before, and now here he is starting to really kick on. Yeah, he's got a nailed starting place. He's added a goal. He's got an assist in here, so he's got decisive potential, and his AA game's coming on nicely. And I like him because £5 or 70 quid, and you can see his L5, L15, and L40 is starting to look really nice and green, really strong. So yeah, I think he is a really cheap pickup. I own his 1 of 100, which is how I know about him. So it might be a little bit of a pump, but the only reason I noticed him is because I hadn't used him absolutely forever. And then he appeared at the top of my team list. And I was like, hey, what the hell's happening here? And yeah, I think he is on the up. He's only going one way. Get yourself involved.
I like it.
Love it.
Tornado, who you got?
I've gone for a player who I've owned for a long, long time. One of my oldest ever purchases. Everyone thought he was extinct, but he's actually not. It's Dodo.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He used to be at Shakhtar.
That's just retro with me as well, mate.
Yeah, that's a good one, isn't it? So he was at Shakhtar, which obviously wasn't a team that was covered, but I was just sort of holding him, waiting for him to get his big move. Now, his big move wasn't quite as big as I was hoping it to be. It was to Fiorentina. And he was sort of starting and then benched when they're in Europe and then he's sort of going back and forth a little bit, sort of getting used to the league. He's finally sort of seems to have settled into his position now. The last few games, he's really come on, got some really good AA.
Wow.
He's that one, the most recent one's tonight actually. So he's not done great tonight, but I think he's definitely going to start on the weekends. He's becoming the player he was at Shakhtar. Like if you go onto his historic scores, obviously all the DNPs are where Shakhtar weren't covered, so they don't show his score. But I was keeping an eye on him, and who else did I have? I had Manuel Solomon at the time, so I was constantly I was constantly checking Shakhtar scores back in the day, and he was an absolute beast. Every week he was up and down getting assists, getting goals. He was an absolute machine, and I think he's finally finding that at Fiorentina now. He is, I think, £9 for limited at the moment, which I think is quite cheap for a really good, solid champion Europe defender, and £90 roughly for a rare, which I think is pretty cheap as well. I think he's good value, and I think his average score is very low as well for caps. I think cap is 42, and he's only averaging higher than that in the last 5. So I think he's on the up. I think get him in. He's going to do well this weekend.
Nice. I like it. I follow Fiorentina a bit, and I thought he was going to do really, really well there. And he's been pretty shocking, hasn't he?
He started bad, but I think the last few games he's sort of getting used to it a bit. Took some time to get used to the league, maybe, but he's getting there.
I like it. So, what's my toilet tip? Considering very close to going for Seferovic again. If I'm gonna have to go for Seferovic. I can't.
No way.
My word.
Really? I mean, 31 as a cap cost, 394, 60. No,
because he's crap.
Yeah, he's awful.
I mean, he's not great.
Bring up his scores again. Bring up his scores for us again.
I'll tell you what. I'm gonna go elsewhere because I can't let you give him any more shit.
Oh, I think I prefer Seth.
I'm going Bobby. So this is why I'm going for Bobby, right? Other than he's an ex-City player. 43 cap space, that's fine. 295 for a limited. But I'm saying if you want to get involved in the Reds, this is a time to get your Bobby Reid in. £28. He's an attacking player.
It is cheap, to be fair. It's very cheap for him.
The key bit is he's a forward, and forwards in red are bloody hard to get hold of. So to get hold of a forward for £28, who, and the reason why I'm saying do it now is because he's just been dropped because Solomon's hit such high form. That for me is a good time to pick up a player because less demand. Yeah, he may not play for a few games, but again, if you're building your rare team and if you've got a low budget, for me, that's a good opportunity. When he scores, he hits peaks of 70s really. So he's not like one of the best players on the platform, but generally speaking, he nearly always plays like 70 to 90 minutes. It's only recently because Solomon's hit that purple patch that he's lost his spot. But again, yeah, if you're looking for a cheap striker, got a bit of patience, he's your man.
I was going to say, if you're looking long term there as well, like I can see him quite easily leaving Fulham at the end of the season.
Yeah,
and
definitely. And
he would smash it at Championship again. I presume his scores on here don't go as far back as when he was at Bristol City, but he was quality.
So he's at Cardiff in between as well.
Yeah, I mean, he'd smash it. He'd smash it back in the Championship, and I think he'd probably do well in the Premier League if he was playing. But yeah, I think that price, what you said for the rare, like that is an absolute bargain, isn't it?
He's got hidden international utility as well. He's got
Jamaican.
Yeah,
Jamaica, yeah.
So I mean, again, for £28, that's one of those cards that every now and then you might not even use it, but then eventually pull out and go, shit, I can actually make a team now.
Nice pick.
Who have Jamaica got on the Euro qualifiers next week, mate?
Not sure, mate. Sure, do you know? Thought there was like a Jamaican me something joke coming out there.
Nah.
Anyway, toilet tip time is done. And as always, I'm sure they'll go down the Swanner. Last piece of the session, competition time, Thursday Club League. Week 1 is done. Results are in. Ricky T, over to you.
Yeah, let's load me up.
Come on then, Mamba.
Sorare bombs as well, Jess. Don't forget.
Yeah, I'm going to have a little cheeky reward opening. I saved these for Tuesday. For anyone that hasn't seen how exciting getting coins is, that's what happens.
Particular favourite for our listeners, this section.
Yeah, I've got tier 3 limited here. I'm just opening up. He's Spanish. He's a forward.
Ooh.
And he is Waldo Rubio.
Ooh. Oh, decent.
Tenerife.
Where's Waldo?
I use second division teams, so that is useful for me. And 17th and cap 220 rare for a tier 2.
Well, this could be good.
He
Could be
comes
right,
from he's
Portugal.
Portuguese defender from Marseille.
Marseille.
Oh, Nuno Tavares. I have
Yeah,
opened
he's
that.
he's from
think-
on loan from Arsenal, isn't he?
Not the
yeah,
best, but he's all right.
yeah,
Yeah.
under 23. So can't complain. Anyway, now I indulged you all in my
Yeah.
my
Thanks
side
for the
quest.
flex.
Yeah. Here is Beat the Boys League. So week 1 is in the books. I defended our name very proudly. I came second overall on 350 points. Crowther taking Latiz took top spot. The only one to beat me on 366. So there is no need for a draw as he is the only winner. He's the only one that finished above us. I can't see any of you two on the top page. Oh, there you are down here, Johnny.
There I am. Good work.
And Jesse.
Must be an error.
Oh, here you are down here.
Ooh.
Who was last? Who was last?
The real McGeady. The only way's up.
Guess we didn't enter anyone
by
though.
the looks of it, but
Yeah.
it's changed now because we've had a couple of new entrants tonight. So
Nice.
yeah, shout out to Hamidism. Oh boy, a lot of time for you.
Yeah, we like that guy, don't we?
Shout out.
Came third as well. Good effort.
So yeah, if you want to get involved, here's the code. It's weekly prizes. So yeah, enter in. You've got till tomorrow and win some prizes from this week. Every week we're going to put in a few more prizes into the pot. This week I'm running this team. This is why you should be scared. I've got Haaland on the bench as well. I'm not even using Erling Haaland. So that's how confident I am.
Whoa.
So every week we will pop some prizes in. So our current pot is 4 Plie Limited, Taxi DC Limited, a Javi Jimenez in Spain rare, and a limited legend Alessandro Costa Curta. So someone, Latiz will win whatever this lands on, and we'll pop a few more in. Winners of next week, we'll get something else. So yeah, without further ado, let's spin the wheel and see what you get. I think I'd probably want a.
Who do we want?
I think I'd probably want a legend card because I think they're cool. But
I'd probably want a taxi. I think
Taxi's good because you got some utility. I like Plie. Plie's got peak score.
what about the rare? Is the rare started?
They're all worth between I think £10 and £13 at the moment.
Which one's we've got a rare in there as well? Did you say?
Javi Jimenez.
Ah, nice.
Anyway, here we go. And it is.
Ooh.
Oh, it's the limited legend.
He's got the legend.
He has won a legend.
What a legend.
Congratulations, Latiz.
Well done, Latiz. I will send that over to you probably in the morning. It's quite late now, and I need my beauty sleep. But yeah.
Well, I'm going to do my Sorare. I'm going to do my Sorare bomb to celebrate.
Yeah. So before we sign off, I can tell you that Jesse, for coming last out of the three of us, owes us a Sorare bomb, and Johnny winning Sorare Mega and winning a Tier 0 and many other prizes this week has to do a Sorare.
I had a good week. It's been a good week for Tornado FC.
Poultry Tier 2 does not have to do so.
Going into the bomb today, Johnny. I've got Ale and
Thatcher's Haze.
I see that to get out of it, Jesse's just. Am I back on my own?
you're me.
Jesse's back as well. I thought you were trying to run away then.
No, it's like the Sorare bombs were too much for.
What just happened then? Everyone just disappeared.
I froze it while I ran and got some apple juice.
And I'm putting a bit of spice rum in the top of mine.
I really want this after last night. I haven't told you my story. Well, I told you the story, but I spent last night on a work stew, which would have been bad enough. But we also happened to be checked into a hotel that once we arrived back in there, set on fire. So I spent the evening camped out in a Wetherspoons, just trying to keep warm whilst my the firemen put out the fire in my hotel. And then weirdly went back to a hotel that was on fire. I felt a bit wrong.
Nice. Was it an actual proper fire, or was it just a drill?
No, legit, bellowing flames coming out from underneath the building and everyone running outside. Anyway, I digress. But
it's probably a sign of how well your Cap 220 team is going to do this week, I'd imagine.
That's how much I don't want this right now.
Right, have a good one.
Sante.
Get them down then. I'm disappointed you didn't use actual shot glasses, but maybe we can get some personalised merch for next time. But here we go. For anyone not watching, the boys are now downing a pint with a shot in. Congratulations. We
Well,
managed to make our 1 hour long
Temple
pod
Sun.
an hour and a half again. So congratulations.
Brilliant. We failed yet again.
Well done
Love
on
it.
finishing your drinks.
And
Nice.
that's it, isn't it? That is
Yeah.
that is a wrap for the
and
week.
next week we're on a different day, right? Because we're Cheltenham in.
We are gallivanting in Cheltenham. We are. So we're going to do a Cheltenham weekly at the start of the week. That's the plan anyway. Yeah, and that's it really. I think other than that, thanks everyone for listening if you have. And yeah, join us for the Cheltenham special.
And if you have made it this long, can you please like and subscribe? You know, we need to keep the lights on in our houses.
We need those, don't we?
Appreciate the love.
Yeah, we do need those. Right, cheers.
Cheers, boys. Up the Thursday Club.
Toffees.
Up the Thursday Club.
Up the Toffees.